model of a cell compared to a factory. How is a cell like a factory? In this presentation, we will look at several of the organelles within a cell and compare them to parts of a factory. Hopefully by the end of this presentation, you will better understand the different organelles and their functions within a cell by trying to remember how it compares to things in the real world. Make sure you have your name on your comparison chart, cell to factory, that you are writing down each part of the chart, and that you're thinking about each organelle and how they work in the cell. Don't forget to write the name of the organelle, what part of the factory it's being compared to, its function or job that it does inside the cell, and last of all, put a check mark if it is in the plant or animal cell, or both. Before we begin comparing the cell to a factory, let's think about what makes them similar that we could actually compare them. They are both closed and open systems. When I say that, that means that things can come in and out of a cell, as well as people and products come in and then leave the factory. But there are several things that always stay within both the cell and the factory that don't move, creating a closed system and an open system. Both in a factory and a cell, there are different tasks happening within the same place. As well, a factory and cells do specialized tasks. A specialized task means that it does something particular to its being. For example, we have factories that make makeup, factories that produce food, factories that cut and produce wood and metal, chemicals, cars. They do specialized tasks where they only make certain products over and over and over again. Same thing with cells. Your blood cells are very different than your bone cells, whereas the cells in a plant's leaves are different than the cells that are in a plant's flower or its roots. And last of all, the reason why we can compare the cell to a factory are that analogies always help us remember things more. Let's begin with the cell wall. The cell wall is like a security gate. It protects the factory, limits who can enter and leave, and defines the area of the factory. Just like in a plant cell, the cell wall limits and protects the plant cell. The cell membrane is like exterior walls and doors. Again, also protecting the factory, limiting who can leave and enter, and defines the area of the factory. Cell membranes are the main covering of what holds and protects the cell in an animal cell. In a plant cell, there is a cell wall, and then the next layer is the cell membrane. The third organelle we're comparing is the cytoplasm. We're comparing that to the factory floor. Just like the cytoplasm, the factory floor holds the factory equipment and allows for movement of workers and products. Both the plant and the animal cell have cytoplasm. The nucleus, well, that's the big boss or CEO. Both plan, execute, and control the goals of the company or the important things that the cell needs to do within the organism. The nucleus, as well as the boss, separate activities and productions. They make sure that each part of the cell is properly functioning, or each part of the factory is functioning. If not, then they solve those problems. The nucleus is also found in both plant and animal cells. Continuing on, the endoplasmic reticulum is like the assembly line or a conveyor belt that we often find in factories. As you can see in this picture, here are women working on the factory line producing Twinkies. In a cell, just like on the assembly line, the endoplasmic reticulum transports items and products, and it moves products to different parts of the cell, or moves the product along throughout the factory. Endoplasmic reticulum is found in a plant and animal cell. Ribosomes are the assembly line workers. They work with the endoplasmic reticulum, and they're also free-floating in the cytoplasm, but help in a factory and in the cell to assemble and package the products. They can be attached or also be kind of free-floating in the factory. We find ribosomes in both types of cells. Let's look a little bit at the vacuoles and vesicles for a moment, both which could be related to a break room. The vacuoles hold water for the workers. Here is an example of a vacuole within a plant cell. The vesicles are a place for waste. And those also can be found in the cell, and we can compare that to the break room. A plant cell has a vacuole, and an animal cell has a vesicle, and plant cells also have vesicles for removing waste within a cell. We're almost finished. Let's talk a little bit about lysosomes. That's like our maintenance and janitor crews within a factory. Both break down, clean up, recycle, repair items, and throw away items within a factory or a cell. These are found in both plant and animal cells. The mitochondria, hopefully by now you can identify that because you've seen it several times. It is the power station or electricity that supplies energy to the factory. Mitochondria are extremely important because without these, the cells or factories wouldn't have energy to be able to do all the production and work that they do on a daily basis. Mitochondria are definitely found in plant and animal cells. Last of all are the chloroplasts. Chloroplasts are actually the inspiration for solar panels because scientists and engineers wanted to be able to find a way to harness the sun's energy and make it into usable energy like electricity. Just like a plant cell, through the chloroplasts, take the sunlight and convert it into energy for the plant to use in the form of glucose and later on ATP, which is the energy molecule of the cell. Animals are not able to use sunlight for energy. So right now, plants have a little bit more on us, like solar panels, to be able to take energy from the sun and convert it into usable energy. Now, we've taken a look at how the factory and cells are compared to each other, and there are a lot of similarities. Like I said at the beginning of this presentation, I hope that now you can better understand and see a real-life example and how that compares to the cells that are within your body, that are in plants and other animals around us. Now it's your turn with your partners to look at how you can compare the cell to something else. You could compare it to a mall, or a school, or a city, or a sports stadium, anything. Anything that you can think of that would allow you to compare the functions of the cell to real-life examples in an open and closed system is what you and your partners are going to work on. Have a great day, guys.